Hello, beautiful souls. My name is Eliana Gilad, and I have spent the last 40 years living abroad solo, living guided by my inner voice, living from the inside out. Have you ever felt, or maybe these days you're feeling a calling so strong to just leave everything behind and start all over again from scratch, maybe even in a foreign land? I have. I have done that in my 30s, in my 40s, in my 50s, and now in my 60s. And today I'm going to share with you what they won't tell you about taking up such a journey, and how by being guided by your inner voice can lead you really to an amazing life in amazing places that you could never imagine. In my 30s, I left the US and I moved to France. In my 40s, I moved from France to the Middle East. And then in my 50s, after living overseas for over 20 years, I found myself moving back to the US to be close to my mom with Alzheimer's and to come full circle. And now in my 60s, I bought a home and I made a fourth transcontinental move to the south of Portugal. And each one of these moves has taught me invaluable lessons. A lot of uncertainty, but despite the uncertainties over all these years, and I didn't know a soul when I moved to each of these places. I didn't have huge reserves of money sitting in a Swiss bank account. I really listened to my inner voice, and I've had the courage to trust its guidance, and most importantly, having the courage to act upon that guidance, especially when it made no sense. That is what has carried me forward every single time. And, over the years, clients and colleagues and friends, they've commented to me, "Oh my God, I'd love to live like you. I'd love to have an adventure overseas, but I wouldn't even know where to begin." And now suddenly there's this boom on YouTube of middle-aged people traveling and moving to foreign lands and what it's like for them. And it's really cool to see this. And I want to break down this next section and this video actually into key lessons that I've learned through those four transcontinental moves, because that's quite unusual. Most of the YouTubes that you see are from like a few months or up to a year. This is over a 40-year period that I'm going to be covering. That's a very, very different perspective than someone who's just moving overseas for the first time, or relating to the subject in general. So I began my YouTube channel in 2006 while living in the middle of nowhere, Galilee, on a mountaintop overlooking the Sea of Galilee. And it was my way to use media for constructive purposes, basically in response to people's terror of me living. You live in the Middle East? Oh my God, is it safe? And it was my way to respond. So that's really the first truth that I'd like to address here, is the reality of leaving your comfort zone. Okay. The first leave in my 30s, that was really, really daunting. Leaving your familiar surroundings. My friends and my family, they thought I was making a mistake. They told me I was running away. I didn't have support in leaving. And I was running, but I wasn't running away. I actually thought, am I running away? Took me, several months to get the clarity inside. No, I'm not running away. I'm running towards something, towards what I have no clue. No clue. But I was terrified of living the rest of my life in consensus mode. I was at a big crossroads and I knew how to get along with the consensus, but inside I felt dead. I felt, pardon my French, but I used to say to myself, I'm like whoring my life away because how I was living outside to what I felt inside, that I didn't know what that push was. It was very, very uncomfortable. But fortunately, pain can be a great motivator. I didn't know, what will it be like? Can I make it? Will I meet people? I'm going alone. What will I do? All of these questions. But I was terrified of living the rest of my life looking good. And I figured if I jump off into the unknown, then I'll discover a new reality, right? And the thing is that if I didn't and I stayed in the safe zone, I could sugarcoat it, but I'd know between me and me. And that scared me more than the terror of jumping off into the unknown, because oh my God, what if I get to the end of my life and I never knew why I lived? That terrified me more. That got me to jump. And, you know, that jumping outside of that comfort zone, that thing over these 40 years, that's the thing that repeats itself over and over and over again. And it still does in this fourth move. I'm in a different place today, but jumping outside of my comfort zone is the thing that I've learned that's really the key and essential for growth. Have you ever jumped out of a comfort zone? Like that can really help you. Comment below. I'd really love to know. Or, and maybe you can ask yourself, what's the cost of you're not jumping? Do you feel that pull between you and you? Oh boy. It's the thing that really gets me to keep moving forward and to keep growing, which leads me to truth number 2, the unspoken challenges of living abroad solo, alone. There are culture shocks you deal with alone. There are the language barriers. There's the loneliness that you meet. And you meet up with loneliness even when you're in a couple. When I first went to France, traveling to France, Paris, the city of loves, the city of lights, and the Riviera. Oh my God, it's so romantic, right? But going someplace, visiting as a tourist and living in a foreign land, it's like night and day. When I went to France to live, I had no visa. So I was an illegal alien. I couldn't work legally. It was a challenge, but it also pushed me to connect more deeply within myself because that inner guidance was guiding me to be there. And I learned to be resilient, to think out of the box so that I could thrive through all of the challenge and through all of the uncertainties. And that led me to, in the end, to broadcast the 1992 Olympics. Here's the video right here. You could go watch me. That's my voice for the opening and closing ceremonies. All right. I would never have had that had I not jumped out of the box and met up with the fear of change, but moving ahead anyway. Because adaptability, it is a crucial skill for living abroad. And it's something that those of us who have been born and raised initially, at least in the US, we haven't been taught that. And the thing is that if you're considering moving abroad, I would really suggest that you go visit the place, spend time in there, go live in the place for at least a few months, not just a few days, because again, that's tourism versus living in a place. And if you have an open mind and you're willing to experience your life out of the box, you're going to experience amazing things. And, who knows what's going to happen to you? You won't know beforehand. But if you're willing to go with the flow, you'll discover things that could be so much better than you could ever imagine. And that resilience and that adaptability, they're important life skills that even if you decide that something's not right, that's something that's going to serve you for living a vibrant second half of life anywhere. So, truth number 3, the power of inner guidance over needing things to make sense. I want to share an instance where following my inner voice conflicted with what made sense or what my mind could even imagine. Inside, while I was in France, there was this voice. It took me 10 years to be able to say this. Move to Galilee. Settle in Galilee, in a green place where you see blue. You'll find a special center where there'll be special music that combines east-west computers, and the focus will be over the seas. This was before the days of internet. I had no way to make any sense of this, but it was clear. It was clear beyond cognitive reasoning. I didn't understand a word of it, but learning to trust that inner guidance, I closed up shop in France and I moved to Israel, to Tel Aviv. I had zero idea I was going to end up in Galilee, but this is where I discovered the Eastern approach to music. And my teachers were from the ancient Mediterranean world, from Turkey, from Iraq, from Morocco, from Uzbekistan, from other exotic places that you may likely never have heard of before. It opened me to see and to hear things and meet life in a way that I'd never experienced before. It reconnected me to the ancient feminine roots and healing voice practices of my heritage. And the YouTube channel that I started, this very channel, I began in 2006, living on that hilltop in the middle of nowhere, Galilee, to use media for constructive purposes, to be able to share people living constructively and how healing use of voice and music can be an alternative to the fear and gloom type of broadcast that we see in conventional media. And I have found my first video. On this channel, there are more than 400 videos. The very first one was broadcast in the summer of 2006, and it's a musical meeting of Israelis and Palestinians in the Healing Music Center that I developed overlooking that Sea of Galilee. And it is just so fulfilling to share this with you now. Fulfillment comes from following your inner path, all right? It brings me to truth number 4, which is the role of healing music, and in particular ancient Mediterranean music, and healing and connection. Because discovering what I did in moving to the Middle East has had such an impact on my life. It has helped me meet new people, new ways to express myself, new ways of looking at the world, which was so very, very different than how I was raised. And this ancient approach to music helps calm me when the inner critic wants to keep me up at night, running in circles, keeping me up from sleep. So if you have difficulty getting to sleep or worrying over what's next, what's going to happen, check out this ancient Mediterranean music meditation that I created to help calm anxiety. I've been using it and sleeping so, so well. And I just received a message from a client yesterday. She says, I've been using it when I go to bed ever since I found out that I have to move. I put on my headphones, I put the headphones in, and before I know it, I'm asleep and I wake up so refreshed. So if you find yourself in those kind of situations, check it out. It can help you to have a really, really nice sleep. And it is medically proven to do so. I'll share that in another video. But music serves as a universal language, and it really can aid us in personal healing and in connecting with ourselves and with others. And my medium has been through ancient Mediterranean music and healing voice. But I want to encourage you to find your own medium of expression. Your voice really makes a difference, and you are here on this planet Earth for a purpose, and you're coming to this video means that you are attracted to making a change for yourself, to express yourself more fully. And that when you embrace uncertainty and not knowing, and you move forward in that direction, it leads you to triumph. And that actually is truth number 5 that I want to share with you, how embracing uncertainty leads to triumph. So my path, my third transcontinental move in my 50s, I found myself back in Los Angeles. Nothing I had planned. It was the last place on earth I planned to be, but life brought me there, and I'm so grateful to have had the chance to come full circle with my family and time with my mother, before the cognition total, it went. And then everything changed during COVID, and I didn't want to grow old in the United States or in my former homes. And I was asking, where am I going to go? What's next? What is next? You ask that question, let me know. I know I'm not the only one. But what are your questions? When I was asking that and in lockdown, I started, like you, watching a lot of YouTube videos. It's my TV. And having already lived in 3 different countries, over a 30-year period, very few of the videos actually addressed my needs, like what it's actually like to live over a period of time. I was looking for lessons learned from people, and very few actually addressed that because they hadn't been there long enough to know. And I think that it's so important to have that kind of input, especially when you've never lived abroad before, when your country of origin is the only place that you've lived in. Because when inevitable frustrations and challenges come up, which they do, it doesn't matter if you move in your own country or to a foreign one, stuff is going to come up. And when you're in a foreign culture, it's like even more pronounced because you don't know the habits that you have until you leave your country. I like to say, does the fish know it's in an aquarium until it's out of the water? You won't know. And you also don't know in a few months or even a year. I see my experience is like it takes at least a year. I'm in my 2nd year. I haven't completed a full 2 years of living here. I've completed 2 years of going through the process, but living in a place is not the same. I'm not counting the time that it takes to make your move from wherever you are now and going through that process. The first year is like getting moved in, right? And then you land. And what I would do is when I would have places on my list, I'd start looking up YouTube videos, um, why we left after 5 years. And there were no solo videos. Why I left after 5 years. Why we left after 5 years. And I figured, well, let me see why people left and can I deal with that? And if I could, then the place would stay on my list. And if I couldn't, then off it went off the list. And it's really, really important. And, then I started going to travel to these places and spending time there. And embracing the uncertainty and going after what doesn't make sense. Again, I keep saying that, but as I'm reflecting on these 40 years, that really has been the thread that helps me to thrive through uncertainty and emerge triumphant no matter what's going on around me. It's meeting significant challenge and not running from it that transforms it into a triumph. And that gives you, it builds your self-esteem, it builds your self-confidence, and it's very attractive. So if you want to thrive through uncertainty, dare to pay more attention to your small inner voice. It's always there, but it won't compete. It's just waiting there for you to listen to it, to guide you to your next victory. What is that victory going to be for you? What does your heart yearn for? Please write a comment. I will promise to answer you. I just so love them. And when you express your voice, you're giving of yourself, you're helping others, because we're all in the same boat. And, together we're better. So if you like what you've heard so far as well, please subscribe to the channel. And it really helps for the algorithms on YouTube to let more people see the video, and comment on what questions you have or what you would like to see, and I'll make a video on it. I love to do that. It's like my favorite thing. That's how I connect. And to give you some practical advice towards the end of the video, here are a few more tips for those of you who are considering a significant life change or a move abroad. First one, not surprisingly, listen to your inner voice. Tune into your intuition. One thing you could do is journal with your non-dominant hand, or you can listen to music or music meditation to quiet your mind. You can check out my 1 hour music meditation to quiet anxiety and increase inner calm. I also have a music bundle, a calm music bundle to help relax your mind, connect you to your inner clarity. And you may find that just sitting quietly and breathing just softly, can help you hear the inner voice that is waiting for you just to stop long enough to connect with it. Second thing is prepare for challenges, because they will come up, and give yourself time to adapt to new cultures. And one thing that you could do is, wherever you're interested in visiting, considering moving to, learning more about, go to a foreign event in your own area where you live. so that you can be around different cultures and just go check things out. Dare to do something you wouldn't normally think of doing because it will tap you into other places inside of yourself and open up things that your mind cannot understand because it's another paradigm. And then the third is to find your unique expression. Your unique expression. You can use art, you can use music, you can unleash your own voice to help you find your true expression, your authentic expression. If you're curious about harnessing the power of your voice, I do have a course called Unleash Your Healing Voice that offers step-by-step guidance and very short, practical, powerful exercises that can help you unleash it. So I really appreciate your coming to this channel. I appreciate your watching this video because it shows that you're really listening to yourself. And I've compiled many of these lessons in my book, Emerge, Triumph, and Thrive Through Uncertainty, which can serve as a guide on your journey. And remember that authenticity, it's like your secret sauce. There is no other one than you. There is no other voice than yours. And remember that living authentically begins with listening inside of yourself and embracing the unknown. And I would really, really love to hear your stories. I'd love to hear your questions. I'd love to hear what resonated with you. And again, if it resonates with you, what you've heard, please subscribe to the channel for more insights and check out the links below for additional resources. And do something kind for yourself today because you really, really deserve it. Your voice really makes a difference. Bye.